everyone. It's William Sanders, Pukalan Chamandi Pusaka Sanders, and this is our talk for this week. And for this week, I'm going to be giving a discussion on the jabong. Now, the jabong, also known, by the way, as a siku, is a blade that not a lot of people were at all familiar with. Again, sometimes called siku, but we're going to just call it the jabong because it was the more commonly termed name. Now, when we were given these drawings, there wasn't any weapons. So all we had was drawings, and we didn't actually know the name of the beladao, by the way. We only knew the jabong. Didn't know what the name of the other was. I guess he never asked, and it wasn't written on the paper. But they were to scale. He folded them out, and they had the full-length weapons with all the dimensions on it. So it was easy to not make a mistake when recreating them. So what we did was, what I did actually, was I took the drawings and I had them reproduced at the time, and we didn't have the availability we do now to various bladesmiths, and I hadn't been to Indonesia yet, so I didn't know anybody over there that could make such a thing. So I took the drawing to a blacksmith, a local blacksmith, and said, make this. They pounded it out of iron, and it wasn't the prettiest thing in the world. It wasn't bad, but it was to scale. Well, we looked at it and we went, that's probably not what he's going to want to use for demonstrations and magazine articles. He was doing a bunch of magazine articles at the time. So I took it to a place that chromed automobile parts and just said, chrome this thing. So then it looked beautiful. I mean, it didn't have an edge, but it was nice and shiny and smooth and slippery, and he could use it for his pictures, and that's when you started to see, for the first time ever in the United States, and anywhere that I know of, pictures of a master using the jabong and the beladao. Did the same thing for the beladao. Make this, we chromed it, so we had a chromed beladao and a chromed jabong. These blades are, there can't be too much space between the edge and here, because you want to be able to catch and cut as you trap something. That's a good aspect of the blade. And if you don't have it close enough, unless you have somebody catching somebody's leg, you're probably not going to cut them. Now, when I went to Bali, and when you talk to some other people who do Indonesian martial arts, a lot of people talk about bladed jabongs. Recently there was a guy who wrote an article, many of you saw it, most of you did see it who are receiving this DVD because you're on my Facebook page, produced this big article on the jabong and Pencak silat. It was a lot about the bladed jabong. And the funny part of it was, after all the talk about all these systems that do the jabong, the guy lives in Malaysia, he's trained with all these Indonesian teachers, the picture that he decides to use of a bladed jabong was this, off my website. So I said, hey, it's my picture, you should at least give some credit to Pukalan Chamandi Pusaka Sanders, put that it's my design. Oh no, I'll just remove it and put another one. Didn't want to put the name of the art or me. So I wait that the article comes back. He uses this one, this exact one, okay, off of another old picture of my website. So I wrote him again. Hey, it's still mine. The truth is, even when I saw some other people that did so-called pointy jabongs, most of them don't use the bladed jabong that we do. I got this one in Bali. Nice guy gave this to me, guy from Bhakti Nagar, who I showed some of my silat to, and he came out next time I came with our t-shirts on. More squared. It's got a little bit of a point on the end, but it's just a cylindrical piece of steel with a little bit of a grind on the end. It's certainly got no blade to it. And you'd really have to have some pushing power to stick this in somebody. I mean, you could, but it's not a bladed jabong. And I find that that's what a lot of them are using. They're using these cylindrical things. One horrible set of jabongs I got was from I didn't want to mention the system, but he mentions it on there, and it's a system that doesn't exist in Indonesia, and means sore throat. And so that system a guy showed me back in the 80s. He gave me a pair of their pointy jabangs, and they were just basically like this, but 4 times bigger. Big, heavy hunks of steel that you couldn't move around fast with, and you could maybe just beat somebody over the head with like a club, but they didn't have a blade on them. The only people I've seen work with bladed jabangs, and pictures used to be on my website, and I hope they still are the moust jut students that we found in Indonesia, and they're pictured on there with these big giant wooden ones that they're using to practice with, but they look just like that. Big blades, big triangular shaped blades of wood to practice with, so that they can spar and stuff with them, I guess, and not, kill each other with the bladed ones. So we have a unique bladed jabang system. If there's another system out there that uses this, and it supposedly came from the trisula, from the spear maybe,